We've arrived from a distant past, to arrive here to reach a distant future. Whakapapa is and is still going to be our foundation. Te tūhonohono o kahungunu, our relationship to each and every marae hapu e rote i te rohi nei. Te hononga Marei kura Aotearoa, our relationship to every waka tribe iwi in Aotearoa. Te whakaputanga Aotearoa, our relationship to every country in the world. Te tiritia Waitangi, our relationship with this Korataki administration government, who's disguised as the crown. And ko tahitanga, our relationship to each other. This is our kaupapa, as Pirere said, the Fishhook Summit. Unity and diversity. And of course our modus operandi, kanohi ki te kanohi. Me te reo, o nā tikanga te kahua ngā te kahungunu, mauri ori ki te rangi. Hei whakakuititanga, hei whakakite ngā, mauri ori ki te whenua, e roa tūturua whakamaua kia tīna.
Tīna.
Hauni e hui, yeah! Who's got the buzzer? Who's got the clicker? I just want to introduce my co-host presenter over here, Stewart Whyte. And he's going to just do a little bit of an introduction. Where do we point this thing to here? Right. And a little bit, Stewart, can you just tell me, you've been with me for 12 months in our unit. Can you just highlight a few things about what we do and where we're situated in the Tai Whenua here at Taonga?
Kia ora, Marei. Kia ora te whānau o te Ngāti Kaununu. Firstly, just want to mihi to this fella here. 35 plus years. There's a few taonga like this fella around our mutu, around our iwi, that have had skin in the game, that have been holding the line for our whānau hapu iwi for all that time. And they are true taonga. Look, I guess I've been away from home for a long time and came back and fortunate to land a role working with Marei. And it's the best job I've ever had. Why? Because I think our whānau said it earlier, pretty hard act to follow, te whanganui a rotu. When you do your mahi and you do it with your heart, then, kei te pai tēnā, because you cannot be wrong when you're doing things with your heart. So I guess for the mahi that we've been doing, following in this guy's footsteps, trying to live up to what he's been carving the way, some of that mahi essentially is just around ensuring our whānau hapu marae are thriving, not surviving. And so we advocate, we support, we lead whatever we need to do in those spaces to ensure that kaupapa around thriving, not surviving is upheld.
Stuart, we're the Ministry of Happiness in our unit, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Hey, well, how this clicker isn't going. Jeez. What's up one there? Can we call in the troopers now to put it back up on here? We are. How come it's not clicking on to the next one? Yay!
Oh, there we go. Ministry of Happiness whānau. So, and we are the Ministry of Happiness within the Tai Whenua here at Taonga. In fact, we give awards away every month, induct our whānau, our staff into the Ministry of Happiness Hall of Fame. And so, what's that mean for our mahi? That means we do our mahi with smiles. We do it because we love our mahi, and by doing our mahi, we put smiles on other people's faces, on our whānau's faces. We manage by the minute, so every minute's important. We don't want to waste a minute, because every minute we waste, we cannot capture back.
Yep. Carry on.
Kei te pai. We restore by doing good things. Our mana is mana enhancing for our whānau, and we always want to be doing good things, and we protect. We protect and uphold the mana of our whānau by doing those things that perhaps individually they are unable to do, but collectively we can do.
Smile by the minute by doing good things. Smile by the minute with passion. Smile, smile, smile. Right, we've been talking about this. Next slide, is that coming up? What am I not doing right here? It's on my screen here.
There
They're
we
back.
go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Look, Piriri, he described the big picture that we all work in. Of course, there's been 1,000 years that we've evolved to evolve our tikanga, our kawa. And it was severely disrupted when just outside this window in 1769, a sailing ship called the Endeavour went past. And that's real because human disruption, human meddling is actually getting in our way in terms of our world as we know it. And this is just going to be a little bit of an edit on where we're going to go in terms of a whole of environment well-being, a couple of things that we've been doing on the tai whenua, and of course a little bit of emphasis on rangatahi.
Yes, kia ora whānau, and I just want to mention that environment, in this particular instance, doesn't just pertain to our taiao. Environment also includes our whānau. Environment also includes our whare. So when we think about those things in a wider term, the environment is all-encompassing of everything that is inclusive of our well-being. So with regard to our kaupapa that we're doing, I've mentioned a few things. We're advocating, we're holding the line, we're getting ready. We've rolled out a number of emergency management kaupapa with SIMS training across our marae. This year, pleased to announce we're launching a Te Nunanga Nui o Rangatahi kaupapa. And so bringing together our rangatahi to form their own board, to lead their own direction and provide direction for us so that we can bring them on the journey with us. I think that's about all.
And this is our check-in with each other. This is in our check-in time with each other. Because, now we're getting down to some of the serious stuff in terms of last year, Ngā Pau Matara Hau. It was presented by a team of our technicians that have been supporting this mahi. This mahi is our connection back to our various awa, as PDD had said. This is ko waio. Who am I? No waio. Where do my waters flow from? Ma waira. Who are we doing this for? And of course, all of those processes are around not only measuring, managing, restoring with passion, we're also taking our whānau ourselves on the journey to reconnect. This is a renaissance. To reaffirm, to reclaim our mana motuhake. And in doing so, here are the smiles of the whānau. We're ngā moko tuararo, we're our whānau of Ngāti Hori. And of course, they've been working with their Pātiki, their management plan, Hapu Management Operation Pātiki for a number of years. And we've started off with, of course, all the technos, and we've got Tom Maguire in here with his knowledge and pass along with his children that he's handing it down to Howie and over to Ani. We're at Mokotuararo, just outside of Kohu Pātiki Marae. We're now with that gazebo over at Hardware Park. We're doing the monitoring. We're taking in everything that we can absorb through our senses because Māori can't be measured in numbers. Māori is taken in by the senses of what you see, what you feel, and what you know. Let me just say that when we have, of course, the first order in creation, that was te whānau o Turuhuka and te whānau Mumu. These are the rocks, these are the bugs, the creatures, and everything that we don't see in this big picture. They are the things that have the mauri, the rocks, the inanimate things. And of course, there we go. We're now by we're just below the bridge over across his road, and Shade, with his technical expertise, has come along with his children. And of course, we are very shortly going to be introduced to Jane and her dad, Robert. And here we are again, testing different places up and down the various sites of the Karamu catchment. We just completed the Ngaruroro last year, and the year before that, the Tuki. And here we are with measuring Māori, the very things that have been said, the things that are the smallest things that you don't see. And you absorb that by your senses and feelings that I said. And so we're now going to move on. Stuart, it's your turn now to have a little bit of say about this one.
Kia ora. So we also engage in our traditional kaupapa. So this was a wānanga that we had around Moki. And so we went out, you can see I'm doing the hard work in the first slide there. In fact, we landed out there was about 15 of us that landed out at Peka Peka Swamp. to harvest the opal. I got in there really early, started harvesting the ropo. I lasted about 15 minutes. Then decided I'd send in the kaumātua because he was much stronger than me, and I just started stacking the trailers. Anyway, we stacked about 5 trailer loads. Took us all day to harvest the opal. It was a big job. We then shifted that opal, transported to Pakipaki to our auntie's whare. We needed to winch it up to the first floor of that whare, and that was a big task. And so all that took us basically until 8 p.m. that night. Then we had a couple of our whānau moving into that whare every 2 days to turn the opal so that it would dry. And then 3 months later, we held a wānanga at Haungaria Marae, Pakipaki, with regards to constructing this mokihi waka with our whānau from down south, and I might get Marei to speak to that.
So we had some experts come in to this is a renaissance to reclaim our customary and traditional practices. We've not done this for many decades. I know they did this over here in Whanganui-a-Rotu about 20 years ago. And of course, reclaiming, reframing ourselves back into our customary and traditional practices. This is another form of aquatic mahi. And of course, not using our natural resources. So it was a very long time we spent with all the whānau that turned up, the harvest, the drying, the trailer loads, the turning over every 2 days, and set off by a 2-day wānanga, which finally produced this situation. Am I pointed it? Of course, here we are down at Waipureku. And of course, this is one of them is Te Rerenga Mai Tawhiti, a voice from the distant of the past, along with Whakarepo, which was a site inside of Peka Peka Swamp. That's where we got the raupo from, right? And of course, here are our bystanders, the whānau, sitting in the front stalls, watching all of ourselves reconnect back with our awa. And of course, you know, Heretaunga, back in the day, 90% of the Heretaunga plains was wetland. And we had a thriving aquaculture economy. But along comes Mr. Human Intervention, meddling around with things, and look what we've got now, and having to fix up. So just wanted to say that our reconnection is also back with our awa. And of course, having to celebrate, to give thanks to the many blessings that enable us to get alongside ourselves, ko waio and no waio. Where do our waters flow from? Now we're going to... Yep.
Can I just say, if I link that back to one of those kaupapa around smiling, so if we go back to the water monitoring kaupapa, I can recall us going to the Karamu stream there, and you know, I grew up around that area. To see ika swimming in the river and tuna swimming in the river, that brought smiles to our faces. Same with this wānanga. You know, we had people register, some of them didn't turn up, but then we had more that didn't register to turn up. And obviously you see the smiles on their faces when we launched that moki at Home Moana.
All of this wouldn't be possible without the technical nous and expertise that we've got before us, whānau. I just want to acknowledge, you know, our Ngāti Kahungunu environmental unit with Ngaio, with Shade.
Kia ora.
Give them a big hands up, because, you know, what you don't see are sort of in the places that we don't often go to, just to hold the line, to advocate on behalf of our Marei Hapu whānau. I also want to acknowledge, oh, there you are, Stuart, Marei Black. You know, Marei Black's been our waiologist from day dot. In fact, he should be acknowledged for a serious award, whānau, because, you know, he's such a humble person. But without the technical expertise, the communication, the administration, we wouldn't be able to manage it too bad. You know, we'd probably manage it really badly. But thankfully, we've got the talent. And saying that, I just want to move on to this. We've been holding the line in a number of different places and spaces. And I just want to reach out and acknowledge, of course, no better place for our whānau to be is in the front line. We're in front of hearings, we're in front of Environment Court, we're in front of the High Court at the moment. Over the last 3 years, it's been 3 Environment Court cases. Now, the thing about it is, we've had our whānau, like Jane and her dad from Ngāti Rahunga i te rangi turning up from Mangaro. We've had te piringa o ngā hapu Mahuika, Hine Manu Upoko Iri, with Trish and the whānau turning up. Alongside of us, when we're confronted with about 20, 30 others that are pushing for regulations that are low standard. Just want to acknowledge all of those that are now stepping into this. We've had a few wins too as well. We now have the Heritanga Aquifer, the Ruatanafa Aquifer, with a higher level of cultural significance and spiritual values. Just out of this, that was a 4-year haul. The tank process has been going for 14 damn years. And so, anyway, but acknowledgement also to our allies that come along, the John Sheens and the Tom McKays from Fish and Game. And of course the Science Wānanga. I'm just mindful of the time, Stuart, we're going to have to skip along here.
Kia ora, kia ora. So the Science Wānanga, I think Tai Whenua has been holding the Science Wānanga collaboration with Otago University now for close to 15 or 16 years. We're holding it again this year in November, yet to determine exactly where. But the kaupapa is once again pretty consistent around the health of our awa, our air quality testing, all those sorts of kaupapa that actually bring our rangatau together to see if they can pursue an interest in science.
Okay, so right, if we're sitting here and you were to look directly across to Tamata o Maui and looking on the other side there in this clip right here, yous are around about there, the official summit, looking back from this direction.
And you can see our tama over there, our Tane, looking behind. He's actually looking at us right now.
But I just wanted to show you a short clip, and this is something, I think you can push play on that. Do we just push play? Oh, it's only about a minute. Firstly, I want to acknowledge Professor Richard Walters. We took this clip out, and this is Te Mata o Maui, Te Kauai o Maui, and what you're seeing is the pinnacle Te Iho today, our umbilical cord to the heavens, our tūhi nāpō. And right along the stretch that you see to your right is an old kāinga site called Pukiwa. We're just going through some radio date carbon, but it certainly suggests it goes right back to the period of whātunga and hotu waipara. That's in our blood, that's part of our toto. And as we're starting to see, this was taken about a month ago, and I'm sure it's going to be a revelation in terms of your presentation, Richard, how far the recession and impact of sea climate change, the impact of surging waves as it's making its way into the coastline, and that fringe line that you see is where the fence is. 1 metre of receding sand dune bank is happening every year. It exposed some koiwi. So whānau, all the way down our coastline, we need to start thinking, especially post-Gabriel, around how we get to manage situations after big, huge climatic events in terms of the exposure of koiwi. And so, oh, geez, that's 18. Righto, 30 seconds, we'll just get this one. This thing's only going to go for a couple more seconds. Anyway, as you start to meander this way towards Whakamarumaru and Mangataniwha, this is a beautiful, iconic area and place. Move on, move on. I just want to say that protection also comes in the way of protecting and registering our maunga in this particular regard, under the Heritage New Zealand status of being a tipuna. If we're going to start with our maunga, we may as well go to Wales, because they are part of our genealogy too as well. They have a whakapapa. Our puna that we have in respective areas. And I'm hearing that there's some, there might even be motuakura, Baden. So just a big mihi to the work that also Sanicha and Levi are doing. It's a protection of our icon, wahi tapu, cultural sites of significance, and reclaiming our traditional practices. Look, this is just a shout out for some of the work that we've been doing with the team. Future succession and leadership. We had a small team that was focused on environmental RMA issues, and of course now with this Koretake government that's taken away our rights and interests, lowering the standard of our environmental standards, limits, policies. This group was trained to actually, on the behalf of their marae hapu, as an uri of that respect, the hapu base, but put on the heavy metal jacket. I'm putting a reach out here because they're doing some really, really good work. If you want to digitize, and we're going into this whole process of now data management, of intellectual property, of data sovereignty. And I tell you that we've got the gear, we've got the equipment, we've got the technology and the nous that can store all of that outside of all of the conventions. Apart from Ngāti Kahungunu Iwi, which is also another repository area, and this discussion needs to carry on. So finally, and of course you'll recognise Tuida, my daughter Marei, and from Daniel Crimmins from Tahauke, who was the other face, and Brian Nuku from Omahu. It's come to the end. And I just want to say, this is a reach out, Baden. This is a reach out in terms of our tūhonohono kahungunu. If we're going to measure ourselves in terms of how well we are related to each other, to connect the dots of Marei Hapu, I think that we have got a good job of doing that with you holding the pack of cards as our chairperson, Baden. And I just want to acknowledge the fact that we're here because of the Ngāti Kahungunu board, and welcome to our new board. And also to Chrissy and the operational staff. This wouldn't be possible, of course, without all the moving parts to manage each and every part, and especially that timekeeper over there. I've gone over. And so on behalf of Te Tai Whenua Heritaunga, Mike Paku, my fellow CEO, Wayland Tahuri Whakapākanga, tēnei te mihi atu te tonga arahatu nei, tūtera mai ngā iwi, tātou e, tūtera mai ngā iwi, tātou e, whai ā te māramatanga, me te aroha, kia tapatahi, kia kotahi rā, tātou e. E tū tātou pārau. Kia tapatahi, kia kotahi rā, tātou e, tūtira mai ngā iwi, tātou e, tūtira mai ngā iwi, tātou e, whai a te māramatanga, me te aroha, e ngā iwi, kia tapatahi, kia kotahi rā, tūtira mai ngā iwi, tātou e, tūtira mai ngā iwi, tātou e, whai a te māramatanga, me te aroha, e ngā iwi, kia tapatahi, kia kotahi rā, tātou e. Kia ora tātou.